What is going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Sleeper Colts. I am your host, as always, Cody Felger. Guys, the Indianapolis Colts play a football game today, and the first preseason game in New England is happening tonight. So really excited about that. We'll have all my thoughts from that posted tomorrow. But with that being said, guys, I wanted to focus on some players that I am watching here in the Colts' first preseason game. Obviously, Daniel Jones is not going to participate in the preseason at all. And there probably will be some other starters like Jonathan Taylor and maybe a few other players that aren't playing in today's action. But there are some players that are competing for some either starting positions or backup positions that could be very important here. There's a lot of guys that are going to be playing here for this team, but to me, these are the top players that I am watching for various reasons. So with that being said, we have to start with both quarterbacks here, Anthony Richardson and Riley Leonard. It came out that Anthony Richardson will be the official starter for week number one. He will play the first half, then Riley Leonard will play the second half, and then the next week we'll kind of see a little bit of a flip-flop there. So how does Anthony Richardson look? He's had a very up-and-down camp so far. Both quarterbacks really have. So how does Anthony Richardson look here at the second quarterback position as the quote-unquote starter for this game? How does he look in that first half? And then what does Riley Leonard show here? Right now, it's still pretty much neck and neck for who is going to be that primary backup guy. And I think it's especially important considering the fact that Daniel Jones is coming off that major injury. And obviously, he's had multiple years where he's missed time. So if that does happen again, whoever does win this quarterback position is likely going to see the field this year. So very interesting here. While not in the immediate, it won't really matter necessarily. It could definitely matter at some point during this season. So very intrigued to see how both these quarterbacks look. They both have their up and down moments, but which quarterback impresses the most here in week number one? Now, continuing on, speaking of another player who may not in the immediate have like a major impact, he won't be a starter, but he definitely is a player that I think if he's given opportunities, I think he definitely will be given opportunities if he continues to do what he's doing. That, of course, being seventh-round pick running back Seth McGowan out of Kentucky. Now, McGowan was a guy that when he was taken, a lot of people, including myself, said he is certainly a lot more talented than when he was drafted. As a pure football player at Kentucky last year, he was a very good back. He, really good average yards per carry, had double-digit touchdowns. We thought he has a legitimate chance here to come in as a rookie and potentially be that primary guy backing up Jonathan Taylor, right? And we've heard even the Colts come out and say, we want to give Jonathan Taylor some more rest, right? We want to take some load off of his back. And Seth McGowan, if he continues to do what he's doing, he very well could be that man up to take some of those snaps off of Jonathan Taylor. And we've heard a lot of good things from Seth McGowan, lots of really highlight plays. I know he had a touchdown in the joint practice against the New England Patriots. So what does Seth McGowan do? He's probably going to be the starter here with that Colts first team offense, if you want to call it that, in that first half. So if Seth McGowan can impress, I'm very intrigued to see how he does continue to build his case there for that number two running back position. So very intrigued about that. I think Seth McGowan's a very talented player. And if he comes out and continues to show what he's made of, there's no doubt in my mind he is that next man up in this Colts running back room right now. So Seth McGowan's a guy I'm really excited to finally see in action. We've been hearing a lot of good things about Seth McGowan, so it's exciting to kind of see what he is made of here. Another guy I would talk about in regards to this Colts offense, specifically in the passing game, there's a couple different guys I'd point to here. I really kind of think outside of your top two guys, to me, it's fairly wide open. I mean, you have two guys that you think are going to compete there for wide receiver 3, Ashton Dulin and Nick Westbrook-Akine. We'll see if they play or not. I think they probably will, if I'm guessing, but we'll just have to see on that. But really outside of that, I really feel like it's anybody's game at this point, right? You have still, Anthony Gold on your roster. You have Deion Burks, who you drafted this year. You have Coleman Owen, who we've been hearing some good things about. So really, like, who takes that other wide receiver position and who kind of stands out amongst these guys? Of course, Laquan Treadwell's been here for a while as well. Don't want to forget to mention him. So there are a few guys here that have opportunities, I think, to earn some starting spots here or some big role spots here for this team. So I'm very intrigued which wide receiver or wide receivers separate them from the other guys. So I have to just kind of mention that. The final guy I want to talk about on the offense is on that offensive line. That is rookie right guard, or just guard in general, Jalen Farmer out of Kentucky, who a lot of people wondered when the Colts drafted him, is he going to compete for a starting spot? Doesn't look like it's going to be the case this year, but Jalen Farmer is a player that is very physical. There's a reason the Colts took him when they took him. So I'm intrigued to finally see him and how he plays in his rookie debut here with this Colts team. Presuming the Colts don't have a lot of starters on the offensive line, Jalen Farmer is probably going to see a lot of reps there, especially in that first half. So I'm kind of curious to see how does he look as a rookie here, because we know the attrition of the NFL, you need quality offensive linemen behind your starting five. So if Jalen Farmer could come out and play really well, you feel pretty good about your offensive line in terms of the interior depth there. So I want to see Jalen Farmer and what he's made of there, and obviously a few of the other offensive linemen as well. But Jalen Farmer is the one that stands out the most to me just because he's a mid-round rookie, and I'm curious to see, does he live up immediately to the hype the Colts are really making with him. So yeah, he's certainly a guy I want to touch on for sure there and want to see in action, just like with Seth McGowan. I want to actually see him in action. Been hearing some good things, but what he does in practice is what he actually does in game. I'm really curious to see what he looks like. So he would be the last player I talk about on the offensive side of things. Now, switching over to the defensive side of things, I am very intrigued with Jaylahn Tuimoloau because we just didn't see him a whole lot last year. I think he's going to probably play quite a bit here in this game. So he has a prime opportunity here to continue to show this coaching staff that he deserves to get reps with this defense, and you need him to take a step here in year number 2. So what does he look like here against the New England Patriots? I know he had some good plays in the joint practice, but again, in a live game setting, as much as you want to call that, I know it's still preseason, but it's still a game. How does Jaylahn Tuimoloau look here? And a lot of these newer defensive linemen that are getting bigger roles here with this team, a guy like Colby Wooden, you might throw in there as well, the new defensive tackle for the Colts, and a few other guys that you might mention as well. But really, to me, Jaylahn Tuimoloau is the clear-cut guy I am watching the most out of anybody. Now, moving over to another rookie I want to talk about here, that is linebacker Bryce Boettcher, who's been getting a lot of reps here with the ones, and the Colts have really been rotating their linebackers quite a bit through the course of camp. So what does Bryce Boettcher show you here as a rookie? Does he show you that he deserves more snaps? I'm just curious to see, because we've seen him and heard that he's made some plays, but what does the rookie look like here coming into this linebacker room, and where does he fit in terms of the rotation here? So Bryce Boettcher is a guy I'm looking at, but really just all these linebackers in general I'm really curious about, because, yeah, we have like one guy right now in Akeem Davis-Gaither who we know a little bit about what type of player he is, but outside of that, it's really a couple rookies and an unproven guy in Austin Ejaki and Jalen Carlisle as well, if you're going to throw him into the conversation. So a couple rookies, one guy that's more of a vet, and then a couple unproven guys up to this point. Bryce Boettcher would be the main guy I'm focused on there, but really a lot of these linebackers here in general. Now, moving over to the secondary, there's a couple different guys I want to talk about here. I actually have 4 players I want to talk about here because of the fact that this secondary has a lot of youth, and this youth's going to get some big experience here with this team. Start with Justin Walley. I'm not sure if he's going to see the field. I mean, he hasn't been in a game setting so far through the course of his career, because obviously last year he got hurt before he got an opportunity. And this could be really his first opportunity to actually be in a live game setting. So I would love to see Justin Walley, if he is fully good to go, if the Colts are feeling confident that he's not going to re-injure anything, I'd love to see him in some game action here with this team as that primary slot guy. So he's definitely a player I want to talk about as well. And then really for me, I look at that number 4 outside corner, right? Because when you're looking at this right now, the reason why I talk about this number 4 outside corner is really for week 1, whoever wins this is going to be that next man up on the outside. Because remember, Cam Taylor-Britt is suspended for the first game of the season. So this player, whoever it would be the next man up in that situation. So to me, it's a couple guys that I'm really intrigued in watching. You still have, a few players here on your roster that played some significant roles for you last year in certain circumstances. I mean, we know how much the Colts had to just kind of keep adding these different guys at corner because of the injuries suffered to that unit. But I mean, you have a player like Mekhi Blackman, who you traded a late round pick for last year, had some up and down moments for you, for sure. You still have Jalen Jones on your roster. You have Jonathan Edwards, who was an undrafted guy that you kept over a few other players last year. Really, to me, those are the top three guys here that I'm looking at. So do any of these players show you that they deserve to be that number 4 guy or number 3 guy, depending how you look at it here? But especially for week 1, that's definitely a position group I'm watching for sure. Which player or players show out, which players struggle. It'll be very intriguing from that standpoint. So that number 4 outside corner for sure is a position I am watching with this team. Now, moving over to the safety position, I really can point to both the strong safeties here that I think are going to get big run right now. Of course, you got to talk about AJ Hulsey, who the Colts took in round 3. Didn't start out as a starter, but has been really that starter ever since at that strong safety position. And then you have Hunter Wohler as well, who was a 7th round pick last year. Colts were really high on him, got injured, came into this year into camp as the starter, just coming back from an injury himself. So I'm really intrigued about these 2 young, promising safeties that the Colts have talked a ton about and the Colts are really excited about. How do both these guys look in really their debuts here? Basically call Hunter Wohler a rookie. Same with Justin Walley. Like, how do these young DBs look in essentially their rookie debut here against the Patriots? I am very intrigued about that. And then the final thing I want to talk about here is the kicker position. I mean, the kicker battle that continues to rage on. I think right now it's pretty obvious that Blake Grupe has a leg up, no pun intended, on Spencer Schrader, but I assume both these guys are going to get opportunities here to show what they're made of. So what does this look like, and which kicker shows out? Does Blake Grupe continue to, have that firm hold on that kicking position, or does Spencer Schrader start to maybe close the gap a little bit? So that's just something I'm intrigued with a lot there, guys. We start to see some of these position battles maybe widen a little bit, or if there's a player that starts to shorten the gap a little bit and make things interesting here as we enter week 1 of the preseason. The Colts will have 2 more games after this before they play the Baltimore Ravens in week 1. But other than that, guys, that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks so much, guys. And as always, have a good one.